I've held different views regarding the policy of conscription over the years. While I was a student, years prior to my enlistment, I didn't really hold any opinion of the public policy of military conscription. Why should I? It's not like the public policy climate since the Second Indochina War would support the notion, right? Our American civics class teaches us that the Vietnam War was the ultimate case against conscription. But is this really true? Here's my personal experience on the matter. Upon reaching the specified age, I was dutifully issued a draft card, just like all college-age males in America. I now have my draft card in my Army service scrapbook prefacing my enlistment contract. It is an important document in my own story, and I am happy that I have kept it because of what it represents to me. I remember back to the time when I told some of my fellow classmates that I had enlisted in the Army. I distinctly remember that I was met with open disbelief and outright Marxist derision. While I was attending this small liberal arts college, I was surrounded by other students who simply and blindly accepted that pervasive university whitewash that military conscription is bad. Bad enough to normalize the derision of anyone who elected or volunteered to take up arms in defense of their country of citizenship. Nevertheless, I completed my studies and I was awarded an interdisciplinary arts degree in Asian studies, whatever that means. That's what it says on my transcript, and theater. In my nearly 40 years, I have never seen anyone burn their draft card, but the opinion that this is morally permissible to do so still pervades the public at large. So what of my own feeling? Not long after my enlistment, I developed the opinion that conscription, as a public policy, should be reinstated. This was something of a common combat branch soldier's opinion. We, as volunteers for harsh duty, saw our work as not just important, but vital to the functioning of our democracy. We felt, or at least I felt at the time, that even if someone didn't want to join the infantry, then they should at least contribute their talents to the great nation they chose to call their own. The military, no matter where it goes, land, air, sea, or space, requires all the services of a great city: food, water, medicine, police, supplies, trash removal, and all the various means required to connect these military communities and sub-communities together. Surely we as a nation should require, by law, every able-bodied citizen to ask what they can do for our country. Or should we? Many years after my own brief service to my country has ended, I've come around again to the view that military conscription as a public policy should only be used in very limited circumstance. A circumstance that, thanks to our country's current all-volunteer military, will never come to pass. I'm not worried in the slightest about North Korea invading Spokane, or even China for that matter. As a veteran, my reasons for agreeing with prevailing public policy of no conscription have more to do with my irritation with civilian, non-governmental, quote, military historians than anything else. There is no shortage of people today on social media or the traditional media trying to explain this, that, or the other thing about something they know nothing. Personally, I don't believe in tries. You either do something or you don't. Seriously, it's the singular line in Star Wars worth remembering. Practically speaking, these historians of which I speak are the history YouTubers who lack Army or even military experience and then expect people like me, former and current serving professional soldiers, to take their off-base, ludicrous opinions about the military and the use of military force seriously. There is no point calling them out. It is simply a waste of ink and breath. Listening to a wall would be more edifying. These draft card burning military historians are an odd bunch. Academically, they are obsessed with something they have in practice rejected for some political or personal reason or another. Historians are welcome to say whatever they like about the military and its operations. However, historians are not entitled to have their opinions accepted by those who have more practical and gainful and relevant knowledge of the subject at hand. The infantry is the same now as it has always been. The soldier's load, the distance march, the length of service, all remains about the same now as it has historically. If anything, the advances in technology have increased the longevity of the combat soldier and not reduced it. Thank God for our sturdy, modern Mickey Mouse combat boots. My ankles roll thinking about how far the Roman soldier must have marched with such soulless hobnail footwear. Speaking of which, the quote, Roman military historians are perhaps some of the most unbearable and insufferable of all military historians. In any case, these are people who seem obsessed with the military at battle, but deeply at odds with the military at rest. Their own lack of knowledge regarding the military prevents them from seeing how dissonant their views are on the military. They project their own comfort-seeking desires in place of the harsh realities that underlie their academic pontifications. Sadly, in my view, non-military military historians of every specialization have an outsized impact on the public's civil-military dialogue. I roll my eyes whenever I hear any archaeologist at Vindolanda or Teutoburg pontificate about the meaning of the artifacts they uncover. I cringe whenever linguists argue over the attribution of Caesar's commentaries on the conquest of Gaul. These non-military military pontifications lack context and represent the opinion of an individual who cannot properly extrapolate the military conditions represented by either the artifact or the text. There is simply not enough former enlisted soldiers who are either able or interested in pursuing military history academically or professionally. Ironically, mainly for the contextual issues I just addressed earlier, no former enlisted grunt wants to sit and listen to a draft-dodging history professor spoon-feed their class their multifaceted misconceptions about the military and the military life of yore. Those who would burn their draft card, or would even think about burning their draft card, most especially those with excessive time at a university, have no place in the military, and any effort spent telling these draft-averse people to, quote, go to war or go to jail is a colossal waste for everyone. If someone wants to stay home, then they should stay home. If someone wants to write about their perceptions of the military from a distance, then that is what they should do. Some people, and general civilians, do their best work when they are left to their own income and entrepreneurship, absent any pesky requirements of working for the public good. These civilian self-starters do not understand collective sacrifice, nor do they appreciate the value that those of us soldiers who volunteered to don the camouflaged uniform provide. We soldiers are nothing but a disposable resource, whatever our talents, whatever our pedigree. The only person worse than a draft dodger is someone who is in the military either against their will or worse yet, against their politics. It should be obvious to everyone that a proper military cannot function if it is full of people who do not want to do the military's work. There are stories upon stories throughout military history that illustrate this point. In general, these stories involve conscripts posted to faraway places. Military conscription, by forcing those politically opposed to the military to serve, gives credence to those who neither desire nor deserve such credibility. A protesting soldier is a danger to himself and to his fellow soldiers. Anyone who dislikes their country's own soldiers should never be allowed to become a soldier themselves. The diffident, the nonconformist, the dissident, the noncommittal, the unsure, and above all the shirkers are to be left alone. Non-government, non-military commenters on military policy should find their genuine passion and stay well away from military history and military affairs. These commenters should find their stories and their political meaning outside of the history of the military. To these kind of dissonant historians, attention is everything. The truth is pliable, and they are not genuine stakeholders in the military-industrial complex. Their pontifications about an organization of which they know nothing of any value should be kept well away from those who are currently serving their country. I, as a soldier who served less than a decade and never rose to the NCO ranks, knows precious little about what is frankly a massive organization, but I know much more than your average civilian historian on the quad. Yes, the Vietnam War is the ultimate case against conscription, but for different reasons than what civilian historians will tell you.